panel tonight on the 1st of August. Amazing. It's August already, folks, here. Well, I was going to say here in Portugal and everywhere else, by the way. But yes, especially so here in Portugal tonight. Welcoming you to August and to the Dream Team session. Panel tonight. There we go. Let me just first that over there. Please get your questions rolling in on Zoom and over on YouTube. And let's say good evening first to Queen of the Visas, the first of our Dream Team panelists this evening. How are you doing, Gilda? How's your day been in the capital?
Hello. Hi, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Yeah, and how about you?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Good, good. So what's going on in the world of visas?
Okay, so we kind of have some news this week.
Love it when you have news.
Some of the process that used to be the manifest of interest that they stopped. They are now booking appointments for those kind of process. So it's like that people that were on the limbo with the manifestações de interesse, they are now getting appointments for the IMA.
Right. Very good.
I find this is a big step, considering that there haven't been many appointments available. So it seems like they now want to do something, and they start making appointments at least for this specific type of agenda. Also, very recent news that came today is that the digital nomads no longer will need to have a social security number.
Oh, okay.
Yes, because it was made the decision that they don't need a social security number because it's not mandatory for them to pay social security, as we were fearing with the last government.
Yes.
That they start demanding the social security number for all the digital nomads. So now this government did a step behind and said, no, we are not going to ask that for the digital nomads. We don't need them to make discounts here. However, if you want, you can. Okay. You can make it in a voluntary way, but it's not mandatory now.
And do you recommend that if somebody's becoming a digital nomad to get involved in the system sooner rather than later?
It depends.
You're right.
Because I know you love this sentence. It depends.
Right.
If you only intend to stay in Portugal for a short period of time, I don't think it will make a difference or it will make sense. Yep. However, if your intention is to fix your roots in Portugal and stay here, it makes sense for you to have to make discounts and have a pension here in Portugal.
Yes, well said. And to get all of those ducks in a row in terms of taxation and payments to the government, it's best to embark on that sooner rather than later so that you don't delay and get fined and get behind with those things. So great answer. I totally understand that it depends in that context. Anything else for us from the world of visas and moving in with that migration angle of yours?
No, that's it for now.
Okay, thank you very much. I've heard friends just recently who have gone for their renewal appointments, and they've spoken very favorably of IMA staff. And the sense I'm getting from my friends who are going through these processes, Gilda, is that the staff are really doing their best. And it's the systems that they feel let down by. So they've had a good reception and the staff are working as hard as they can within the context and circumstances that they've got. And they just need a bit more help with the infrastructure and the behind the scenes. Would you agree with that analysis?
Yes, I totally agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that they are making the people that are still there, because we need to keep in mind that we had CEF. And then when they change CEF to IMA, they kind of separate all the persons. Some went to PSP, others went to IRN, and everyone got separated, and they used to work together as a team.
Yes.
And then some of them, with this separation of three entities, they were not happy, and most of them asked for the anticipate retirement.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, so many of them either find other jobs or went to retirement.
Yes.
So the antique SEF, now the IMA, has many less employees than before. And the ones that are still there, they are struggling with lots of work.
And
So of
however,
course
doing their
they are
best.
doing their best.
Yeah, yeah. So it's good to know that, and worth bearing in mind when you're dealing with those frontline staff, that they are doing their best, and they're only human, and they're working against difficult circumstances. And hopefully the government will come to their aid and give them all the backup that they need to do their job properly and bring those queues down. So thanks for the time being, Gilda. Any questions for Gilda? And we've already got the first one, but we'll come back to that, Jeff. Thank you for that. Peda, good evening to you. Derek, Denise, Paolo, and Tom. Good to see you all. Tom in steamy Ohio, where the weather is like a good romance novel, hot and steamy at 28 degrees centigrade over there. We'll come back to more of your comments a little bit later on, after we've heard from Sarah Davey in the world of currency. What's going on, Sarah? How are you? Tudo bem?
Hi, bon nuit, nuit, is that right?
Oh, it's very good. Yes, Sarah.
Oh,
You
trying.
get a big thumbs up from Nunu there. Well done.
Trying. So yes, I mean, I know there's a lot of people from America here, but we did have interest rate announcements from the UK today. Bank of England did cut interest rates, but the voting was 5-4. So although it did go through, there's obviously a lot of people that didn't really want it to go ahead. I think it's still kind of similar to sort of the ECB and the Fed. It's really around interest rates and inflation, and just whether that's consistent, the data is consistent. So they have cut the interest rates in the UK. We saw sterling drop a little bit, but we've had some weaker data out of the ECB around their sort of economic recovery and performance, which is why we didn't see it drop too dramatically. But again, that's why we've seen the rate improve slightly for Americans that want to buy euros, because we've seen it weaken, the euro weaken a little bit because of the economic data. But again, it's still kind of who's going to cut the interest rates first. We did, as I said before, have information from the Fed that they were looking to hold cutting till maybe about September, because again, they want to see that consistent inflation data to make sure that they're making the right choice before they start making those cuts.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much. Now, there are people, when you give that sort of information, there are some people who nod and go, yes, yes, and yeah, of course. And there are other people who also do that, but inside they're going, I do not know what she's talking about, and I am panicking. I am panicking here. For those people, is it best that they get in touch with Spartan and find out what's going on and get a little bit of help from you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Because that's really our area of expertise.
Yes.
And people, I think, I can quote exchange rates, but what is that in dollars? What does that mean in euros? That's the difference. And what's that cost to you when you're looking to, budget and work out how much is that rent going to cost me? How much is that going to cost me? How much are those fees going to cost me? My rent, if I'm going to buy a property, what's that going to look like? Because
Yeah, very
if
good.
I was moving, starting to the process now and thinking about moving, you're obviously basing your calculations on what the exchange rate is today.
Yes.
But that exchange rate will fluctuate between your timeframes of 6-12 months. What does it look like then? I mean, we'll probably talk about it, but we had the meetup in Tamar at the weekend, and what was really interesting, speaking to, which was lovely to meet loads of clients that we've helped, was that some had managed to buy euros long before they needed them, and they'd taken advantage of the exchange rate and found that actually if they'd done it now, they have actually saved money. Obviously no one has a crystal ball and there's a lot in hindsight, but that's the sort of thing we're trying to help manage those fluctuations, but also help you budget as well.
Okay.
And the other thing that they found really helpful was just really the support from the team, that they can speak to somebody. They've came up against maybe complications with their bank, and just couldn't have done it if they didn't have anyone to help to speak to, really.
Yeah, very good. So if you are one of those people that does panic and pretends, yes, rubs your chin and goes, exchange rate cuts and things going up and down, but inside you're panicking. Have a chat with somebody at the Spartan team who can put it into context for you,
Yes.
and illustrate what the implications might really be for that with your particular budget. Thanks, Sarah. And a little bit later on, we will come back to that Tamar meetup and find out what and rub it in a bit, because I wasn't able to be there. I think people had a fantastic time. So we'll find out what people's favorite moments were of the Tamar meetup, and look forward to the next one as well at around the 1:30 mark. We'll get some feedback from everybody who was there, because I think you had a fine time. I think I did ask, what was it like to be in Tamar, and did you enjoy the history of Tamar, Gilda? Well, we didn't actually get out the bar to see the history of Tamar. Maybe next time. But we'll find out more about that a little bit later on. And let's go now to Carolina Muralha from Casa Portuguesa. How are you this evening, Carolina?
Hi, Carl. Good evening, everyone. I'm very well and very excited to be with you tonight.
Lovely to see you as ever. What's going on in the world of rentals and purchasing property on behalf of people for Casa Portuguesa?
Well, we're seeing that the market continues to have low offer, but I believe we can sense it a bit more. The rents got a bit higher. And due to the inflation, I believe we will start to see the rise of the prices a bit. Not
Right.
as much as, not a huge increase, but these 2 weeks, I've seen that the market has been a little more poor in terms of offer, and the prices continue to be up.
Wow.
August is a month that people are usually on vacation, but it doesn't affect as much as like in Algarve, where is the region where we see movements regarding vacations. But that's what we've been seeing these 2 weeks regarding the housing market.
No let up in demand then, which presumably is causing people to look further afield than the usual places. Do you have any new locations for us this week?
I have clients that are looking in Leiria, but inside Leiria and north of Leiria, and
Okay,
want to be more isolated, which
right.
is interesting.
Yes, it is interesting. Okay, so people looking further off the beaten track and getting some better value, arguably, and at the same time, a different quality of life. So that's very interesting. If you've got any questions about renting, buying, locations here in Portugal, Carolina here to answer those questions. Thank you for being here from Casa Portuguesa. We'll come back to you, Carolina. Nuno, World of Insurance, what's going on? Good evening to you, my friend.
Hello, good evening, everyone. So there are no news about the insurance world. Nevertheless, there are some points that connects with the insurance world. But first, let me do a testimony regarding how amazing is been the experience with the expat community, and because we keep receiving amazing reviews from you. So thank you so much. This is the first point. About healthcare. So, as you know, we keep struggling with the system's pressure, both public and private. Nevertheless, there are also good news. So, this week, they announced that some innovations in the techniques on cardio surgeries are being used in Portugal. And I knew a nurse last Saturday that works on a hospital in Lisbon that told me that they are using more and more robotic techniques on surgeries. So I think that this is a point of trust on the healthcare that is provided in Portugal. All of these, it costs money, it's true. So it's normal that also insurance premiums could rise in the future. But I think that have a good healthcare, it's more important.
Okay, well, always good to get your insight from the health system. Anything else from you before we get into the questions, Nuno?
No, maybe my final thoughts following what Gilda said.
Right. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Peda saying, I don't know who you are, but you're very good and you even sound like Carl. Thank you, Peda. Very good. It's not AI. It's not AI. I promise you. Well, we'll see as the evening unfolds here. So thanks for your comments and your hellos here in the chat. Connie is here. Hola from Gaia, says Connie. And LaRonda is here from Pismo Beach as well. Tom, of course, in Ohio. And hola, botar, better late than never, said Peda earlier on. Hi, everyone from Linda and Derek in Lagos. Lagos, I beg your pardon. How are you doing over there? I bet it's warm in the Algarve this evening. And hola todos, tudo bem? Está muito frio aqui no África do Sul, so cold in South Africa. Good evening to you, Denise. Paolo, hola from Providence in Rhode Island, USA. Good evening to you, Paolo. And first question for you, Gilda, the social security number. If I intend to move to Portugal permanently and I only earn income from a US employer, never from a Portuguese employer, is there a reason to get a social security number?
So this goes to what I've answered before. If you intend to stay in Portugal for a long time, or perhaps forever, I would advise you to have a social security number and make voluntary discounts to the social security. If that is not the case, or if you already made enough discounts in other country, and you don't have that concern, then you are not obliged to do it.
Okay, and let's do a
I
bit of.
hope this answers your question.
I think it does. I think it does. And let's do a bit of acronym busting as well, abbreviations. That's the NIS number, isn't it? That you
Yes, the NIS.
not the SNS, which Nunu talks about, or the NIF.
No.
So there are those three abbreviations that you need to be aware of, and they're all different. There's a message to you from Phyllis as well that you might like to answer directly there. I think you're getting a bit of admin, or you'll be getting some admin support. Those of you who are questioning Gilda here on the meeting chat on Zoom. Grace also here. Hola from Cascais, breezy and lovely in Cascais this evening. And Tim, it's cold here. 6 o'clock on Friday morning. Where are you? That must be Australia, right? Hi, Nuno. Good evening. Is Elena on email? The Naunu would like to know. Okay, I think you can answer that as well. Behind the scenes there, Nuno, if you want to pick that up from the Naunu as well this evening. Let's go over and see if there are any questions on YouTube. Keep them coming in on Zoom. Let's have a look on YouTube as well. A good evening to you, Just Jess, with an Allah, and Melissa. Need guidance on what is needed to meet accommodation requirements when a friend is hosting us in our home. This is a classic question from Melissa. When your friend offers to put you up, Gilda, what's required in the visa application process to make sure that's all above board and legal?
I'm sorry, what kind of visa?
Oh, very good. Okay, Melissa, come back to us on that. Yes, let's not guess at that. Let's get some further information from Melissa on what type of visa that is when you're staying with a friend. Andrew, I have family visiting from South Africa who have visitor visa delays due to an external system being offline at the consulate for many days now. Any ideas if this is widespread or an IMA issue? So yeah, it might be useful to know what the implications are for that, Gilda. Is that filtered through to you where you are, and similar observations about the system?
Yes, there have been problems with the system, but in this particular case, I think it's something from the local that they are talking about, like in South Africa. It can be Cape Town or Johannesburg, I don't know which one, because I don't have notice of delays in the issuing of Schengen visas, despite now South Africa, I didn't know that, in India, because in India it's always very difficult to get a Schengen visa because they are always very busy.
Okay, so Andrew is saying getting super worried as they are supposed to travel on Tuesday. What can be done in that circumstance?
Well, what can I tell you? You can send an email saying it's very urgent and putting the proof of your tickets, and tell them that if they don't find a way for you to get the visa, you are going to present a claim and ask for the money back,
Oh,
either
okay.
of the ticket or the change of the
Okay.
ticket.
All right, Andrew, that's the
You
best
need
we
to
can do.
you need to push them against the wall. Otherwise, nothing is going to happen.
Okay, and can Andrew get your help to do that, to add a little bit of weight from
Yes, of
me?
course.
Okay, so Andrew, if you want some professional support and backup from who know how to deal with this situation, you can find them in the Expats Portugal business directory. Thanks, Gilda there. Denise is asking, what is the discount to Social Security that you mentioned a minute ago? I think that was in the sense of subscribing to the Social Security system rather than a discount per se there, Denise. Question from Bogota. Novokolski in Bogota. I want to repeat my questions from the earlier seminar today. Okay. We don't have Pedro here this evening. You might be able to help us with this, Gilda. If we already have NHR, but are still in the US, is it of any benefit to sell the house in the US before moving to Portugal, or doesn't it matter under the NHR? And that'll be the old regime.
It doesn't matter under the NHR.
Okay. I keep hearing that the Portugal taxes should be filed first, and I don't understand why. If so, is it still the case if we have the NHR, Gilda?
It doesn't make sense to me because you are not going to be taxed in Portugal on these capital gains that you are going to have by selling the house.
Right. Okay.
So you are going to be taxed in Colombia, and then you need to present if you are living in Portugal already, which I believe that you are tax resident in Portugal already because you have the NHR. So unless you post the program, which is allowed, you are considered tax residents in Portugal. So you submit your tax return, you sell the house, you submit your tax return in Colombia, and then with that tax return, you fill your tax return in Portugal under the NHR regime. But for better clarifications, I would suggest you to book a consultation with Pedro.
Okay, there you go. In Colombia temporarily, and it was not about the house, but in general. But I think that answers your question there, Novokolski. Feel free to, I think that's Alex, isn't it? Do feel free to add more into the Zoom chat here alongside the other Expats Portugal members. Derek's asking a little bit more admin for you behind the scenes there. Everyone knows where you are on a Thursday night, Gilda, at 9 o'clock. So you're getting some incoming, some messages this evening from people. If you care to take care of those behind the scenes there, that's fantastic. Over to you, Carolina, from Tom. I'm zooming in on Almada as a landing place. It looks affordable and authentically Portuguese while being right next to Lisbon. Am I reading this right? That's quite a good call, isn't it, Carolina?
Yes, I was about to answer Tom. So I don't know what he means by typically Portuguese. It's not, Almada is not like the center of Lisbon. But it's a great choice. It's a great city. You have services, you have transport, you have great food, and you are in Lisbon very quick.
Yes, by ferry or train across the 25 de Abril bridge. So yes, I think everyone knows now that's one of my favorite experiences is going across to Almada on a train and back again. So your intuition is working well there, Tom. Almada, how much, I was going to say how much cheaper, how much better value is it to be in Almada than it might be on the other side of the water, Carolina?
Right now, we're not seeing a big difference. So, but it's obviously different than comparing to the suburbs of Lisbon.
Yes.
This is what I mean. Comparing to the suburbs of Lisbon and Almada, we are not seeing a huge difference, but it pays off sometimes to be on the other side, like Barreiro, Almada, Costa da Caparica, not as much, but Corroios, yes.
Yes. Now, talking of Costa da Caparica, did anyone else see the wallaby kangaroo that was spotted bouncing along the cycle path in the early hours of the last? Are you aware of this, Carolina?
I saw the news, but I didn't see the kangaroo, unfortunately.
I did see a video, and it was the most bizarre thing when the GNR officers were called out. I imagine they thought they were being pranked, but there was a wallaby bouncing along.
They
Yeah.
thought people were confusing to another animal because
Yeah.
we don't have kangaroos in Portugal. So it was brought illegally from Australia, I believe. We,
Yes.
so it was a how do you say, insolid? What's the Portuguese word for insólito?
What, as in, we haven't got a solution or an explanation yet from the GNR about that. Okay, so if you have, I mean, we could make an announcement tonight. If you've lost a wallaby and you haven't noticed yet, it was spotted bouncing along Caparica in the last 24 hours. Jerry, you've unmuted. Have you got some inside information on this?
Well, yes, Carl. I know Astrid's just sneaked off to catch up on dinner, and dinner is a barbecue, and I'm wondering if it's
Oh, no.
wallaby.
Tastes like chicken.
Just a thought.
Apparently. Okay. Well, any news on that from the Dream Team is gratefully received this evening. And yeah, it's such a brilliant mystery. Lol and ew, says Paolo in the chat. Okay, so yeah, let us know if you know anything about that remarkable case of an Australian creature bouncing along the coast of Portugal. Let's go over to YouTube. We're going to find out about what happened in Tamar. Is it like Vegas? What goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas. Is it the same in Tamar from last weekend? We'll find out in a little while.
I was about to say that.
Okay,
We are
all
not
right.
allowed to talk about
I am still
Tamar.
going to push you for, I mean, other people might be willing to speak and spill the beans at Gilda. We'll see in a little while. Oh, Melissa was talking about the D7 visa. And Roella was talking about the D2 visa. So let's go with both of these. Melissa asking, what do you need to do if a friend is going to put you up on the D7 visa, first of all?
A friend is going to put you up on a D7 visa?
Yes, probably not the best turn of phrase there. A friend has offered a place to stay.
Ah, okay.
So putting someone up is offering, I don't know what that is in Portuguese, I dread to think, but putting someone up in England is letting them stay at your house.
Okay.
All right, okay. Obviously it means something very different in Portuguese.
Yes.
Okay.
I was scared for...
Which is a different kind of visa in Portuguese, obviously. That will be family reunification.
No.
Right.
Okay, so in that case, if your friend owns a house or rents a house, my God, you're making me laugh.
Carry on.
If your friend owns a house or is renting a house in Portugal, you can ask him or her to write a term of responsibility. Okay, but it's very important that this term of responsibility fulfills the requirements for the visa. It is a specific form. The signatures must be notarized, and it needs to go along with the rental agreement or the papers of the ownership of the house, and also the identification of the person that is inviting you to stay.
Okay, and that's to stop.
It is something that needs to be, because they try to avoid this way. It's foreseen in the law.
Yeah.
But consulates and IMA, they try to avoid this way in order to persuade people not to rent a place. So they are really, how should I say, demanding with the requirements of this term of responsibility.
Okay, and people abuse that as well. I mean, we're a long way, aren't we? I mean, suddenly I remembered back in the day when we had these conversations 3 or 4 years ago that an Airbnb invoice was sufficient, wasn't it, as proof of residence here in Portugal. Things have changed, and that's what you need to do, Melissa, with that situation there. Let's see what else is happening over on YouTube. Thank you for that question, Melissa. Thank you, Andrew, as well. The Nano is over on YouTube too. My employee is a Russian citizen and needs a bank account for IMA appointment for a D1 visa. We heard that only Kaiser Bank is opening accounts for Russians, but it differs from branch to branch. So what is the situation for Russian nationals wanting to open bank accounts in Portugal, Gilda? And can you help with that?
Yes, I can help because we've opened many bank accounts for Russian citizens. It is a kind of misunderstanding because there was this information issued by the Bank of Portugal to the other banks that the Russian citizens that had something to do with the oligarchs or had some business, not clear business, or money in some countries that were considered tax paradise. These people should have should be forbidden to have a bank account in Portugal.
Right. But
This
you'd expect compliance procedures to iron that out anyway.
Yes. So what happens? This was the rule that came out 2 years ago. But in practice, what is going on? Many banks or many branches don't want to have the work and don't want to spend the time making these compliance. So it's like, okay, you're Russian, we won't open your bank account.
Because it's too much trouble, or not because it's against the law. Okay, all right. But would you agree with the NANU there that Caixa Geral do seem to be more favourable, or would that vary from branch to branch?
Yes and no. Caixa, I think it depends from branch to branch in each bank, because I remember that we had a big operation with Russians, and we opened with Novo Banco, and also with Eurobic.
Okay.
So and of course Caixa is also possible.
Yes. Okay.
But if you need any help, we can do it, and
yes,
it's not a service that is expensive. So
okay. When you mentioned Urabic, and this might be useful information to others because they've gone through a merger, haven't they? With is it Abanca? Abanca. So it's now Urabic Abanca, and I tried to make a transfer in the early hours of this morning, and it didn't work. And I tried again at around 8 o'clock this morning. It didn't work, and I phoned. And I have to say, you can choose to speak to an English-speaking representative at Urabic Banca, which for these sorts of things, it's probably easier than trying to try out your new and best Portuguese. Very good service. I was so surprised when they said sometimes it doesn't work very well in the early hours of the morning. I mean, we're in the 21st century with modern banking technology. And they said, oh, yes, sometimes it doesn't work. And we've had a few problems. That's why it didn't work at 8 o'clock. But if you try now, and it was amazing because this operative could see what I was doing in real time at their end and said, okay, try now. I can see you're trying to do it now. Perfect. Put the code in. And it finally worked. But there do seem to be some teething problems, I think, with the merger with Urabic and Abanca. So be aware of that if you're one of their customers. But what have you heard about this merger, Gilda?
Well, first of all, I totally understand the system of Aerobic, because my brain doesn't start working before 11 a.m.
Not enough coffee in the internet banking system. Okay, I understand now. Yes, very good.
But I think it was a very good move from Aerobic or from Abanca. I don't know which one had the first impulse to do it, because it now it seems to, or at least it shows a stronger bank.
Okay.
With having this big Spanish bank behind.
Very interesting. Okay, so an Iberian effect possibly there with the new Urabic Abanca merger. Thanks for your insight on that. Let's go back to YouTube then. We've got Jess again. I'm wondering if the Dream Team has ever seen a D7 visa application be approved with the international credit card showing credit limit financial requirement option. I'm not sure what that means. Does that mean anything to you, Gilda?
I've never seen that.
Okay, all right. Okay, you might have to give us more information there, Jess. I guess that's one of the menus, is it, on the application system? I'm not sure. There was something I forgot to ask you while we were talking about banking there from the NANU. Are online banks like Nickel, Wise, and Revolut, Spartan for that matter, allowed for D1 visas on the IMA appointments? Now, with Portuguese banks, it's got to be a Portuguese bank. It can't
Yes.
be one of these digital banks, can it? Or one of these unicorn type banks. Do you think that's likely to change, or will it always be, again, from a compliance point of view, that it will have to be like a Bank of Portugal approved bank?
I think that sooner or later they will have to change that.
Right. Okay. All right. So
But for
Sarah
the
can be
time,
lobbying here
I'm
in
pretty
Portugal.
sure. For the time, I'm pretty sure that they only accept national banks.
Okay, nice try, the Naunu, but not yet on that. Rohella on YouTube. How are appeals of CEF decisions being handled? I appealed a December decision and I've heard nothing. Can we come to you for that, Gilda? Who, according to Paul, Amantega says, you look lovely today on YouTube. But if I could come back to the original question, how are appeals of CEF decisions being handled from Rohella?
The beautiful thing was to me.
Yes, it was. Gilda looks lovely.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, Amantega. You're so worth it. So yes, appeals, CEF appeals, IMA appeals, of course. Now, this person, Rohella, in YouTube appealed in December, has heard nothing. What would you make of that?
Well, they have a time to respond, and clearly they have exceeded that time. So maybe further action needs to be taken.
Okay, all right.
But of course, I need to look at the process to
Yes.
understand more.
All right. Find A in the Expats Portugal business directory there, and they'll be able to help you with that. Rohella, sorry, we can't give you better news than that. And that must be a very difficult situation to be in. Let's talk for a moment then. We'll come back to more questions. Thank you. We've got Andrew and Melissa and Stephen over on YouTube. We'll come back to you.
Sorry, can I just say something, Carl, about the bank accounts?
Yeah, please do.
Actually?
Yeah.
A couple of things. One, people can still use our service, but you're right, for certain things like the visa, the money has to come from a Portuguese bank account.
Yep.
But we can exchange your money, deposit into your local Portuguese bank account, and then that could be used for the visa or whatever. But that's another use really, that you can use us before you have a Portuguese bank account, because we can hold euros for you. And also we can pay third parties. So if you've not got a bank account set up, as long as you're given an IBAN, we can pay for your rent, your lawyer's fees, anything that you need to do if you've not got that bank account set up. We have some customers that even when they've got their bank account set up in Portugal, if they're still in America, for example, they just find it easy to instruct us to make those payments rather than dealing with their online banking. But also, if you're opening your bank account, you need to deposit a small amount of money in, we can help with that process. And if you're putting money in, as I said, to your Portuguese bank account for your visa, we can help with that.
That's great. As you know from your own personal experience as well.
Absolutely.
Yes,
yeah.
with the D7 visa there. So, and I imagine if you knew where to lobby IMA to have Spartan accepted as an official bank for the process, you would be doing that.
Well, I've got my AIMA appointment on the 30th, so maybe I can have a
shake some trees then. Okay, fantastic. All right. The Naunu continues on that note. Nickelbank is online, but gives the Portuguese IBAN number. I mean, most of these services can help you with an IBAN number, but that isn't the problem or the difficulty or the point, really, the Naunu. It's approved banks, Bank of Portugal banks that the government needs to see rather than these digital bank brands. I hope that helps. So, yes, while we're with you here, Sarah, how was Tamar last weekend and the Expats Portugal meetup? And we'll ask the Dream Team members and Astrid and Jerry, who were there, of course, last weekend. How was it for you, Sarah?
Oh, it was wonderful. I mean, I love Tamar. It's a beautiful place if you've not been. It's very historic. It's where I think the Knights Templar. It's just beautiful, and you've got the river as well. And there's quite a lot going on. It's quite, there's a lot of shops and restaurants, and there's always something happening when I normally go there, a festival or something. And it was just really nice to, as I said, meet people that have been sort of listening to the show, customers that have used us. It was just really nice to meet everyone in the flesh. And also, I've just moved here myself. So it was really nice to meet new people, whether that be people that live near me or don't. I'll go and visit in the future. It's just really nice. I think everybody there actually made new friends as well.
Very good. Excellent. Tamar is wonderful, says Rahan. And Andrew, as was the company, the food and the late night drinks. Yes, and I understand you went for a very traditional Portuguese curry as the food option.
We did. It was very nice. Really
All
good.
right.
I would recommend it.
Excellent. Gilda may remain tight-lipped on this. Jerry, how was it?
Yes, it was everything that Sarah said. It was also for us, it was lovely to meet so many members and hear so many nice things. That was such a pleasure. And it was such a pleasure to spend time with Gilda and Sarah, and Philomena was there as well. And we had a lovely time. So actually, what we're looking to do is kind of sort of expand it and maybe do some options in the future where we'll do an overnight for people who would like to stay over.
Yep.
And we will try and bring in some sort of cultural experience as well, because Gilda did give us a hard time about not walking around Tomar on the Sunday morning.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm still sort of suffering from that.
It's hard to imagine Gilda giving anyone a hard time. But anyway.
I know, it's
yeah.
amazing. Amazing. Yeah.
There
Yeah.
you go. All right. And Astrid, I don't know if you want to add anything. I mean, you may want to invite people to the online meetup. What was your experience?
Oh, it was yes. Well, it was so much fun on the weekend, Carl. It was just great to be able to meet everyone and just get their feedback and be able to help people so much. So I'm actually in the middle of planning the next one in October. So
Right.
yeah, I'll be able to tell more very, very soon. But it will be in Porto, and it will have a bit of culture. So it'll be a good one.
There you go. Okay. Is Gilda leaning forward to unmute? Okay.
Astrid, I hope that culture involves the wine tasting in Porto.
Is there
It's
any other
what?
culture?
I hope that culture involves the wine tasting in Porto. If not, we can add that.
Right. Okay.
Don't steal my thunder.
I've got a feeling wine tasting might be involved, though, to be fair.
But you know, I need to thank Sarah, Jerry, and Astrid that they were very patient with me in Tomar.
Right.
You know, I always give a hard time to everyone.
Yes.
So,
But yeah, I have experienced that. Okay, before we go into a full scale
my daughter
Oscar,
is laughing.
yes, yes, everyone recognizes what you're talking about, Gilda. Okay, and the online meetup, Astrid, this coming weekend, I believe.
So with Hank and Connie, I think Connie's in the room somewhere here with us. So yes, we've got her social Saturday on with Hank, of course, on Saturday. So I've just shared the link with that in the chat, but also find it on the website and the events calendar. So come along with that and have some fun. It's you know, meet people that have already moved here or planning on moving here and make friends before you get here. It's an amazing networking opportunity. There's Connie suffering from COVID, but she'll
Bless you, Connie. Lots of love to you. Thank you. And hopefully all well for this coming Saturday night. While we've got you on the screen, Astrid, what's happening webinar-wise next Thursday?
Next Thursday, I
can come back to you that we can come back and talk about that at the end of tonight's proceedings if you like. Okay. And Tamar is wonderful, as Rohan and Andrew said. The aqueduct outside Tamar is incredible. It really is. And you can go and walk along it without any safety rails and have an amazing time on the aqueduct just outside Tamar. Thank you very much then for the Tamar feedback there. Let's go back to the questions over at
Sorry, Carl, can I just jump in with one other thing? Talking about Rihan reminded me there's a lot. I just sent you a video. I don't know whether you could put it up later. I don't know whether it will work on the Zoom thing. But it's our new dance group, our new Expats Portugal dance group. And I just wondered, you know, if people can see that. And they are available for bookings and they're very, very cheap. Okay.
Good value, should we say? Or are they just cheap?
Just cheap.
Okay. Right. Well, I will do my utmost best to get that onto the screen. That sounds like too good an opportunity to miss. All right. I'll do my best. Gilda, is that just for La Ronda there? I wonder. Well, we'll come back. We'll come back to the Zoom chat here with the Expats Portugal members over here. You get priority, of course. And Grace says, yes, I will second the exciting nature of walking on the aqueduct, especially in the rain. Yes, no health and safety, high-vis people guiding you around. You're on your own here in Portugal, and it's down to your common sense, which is a wonderful thing. Right, I'm going to go back to YouTube. I am trying to download that video and play it for you this evening by way of a finish for tonight's webinar. We've got over on YouTube, Stephen. Stephen, you say, I am 66, my wife is 70. Can we get insurance and move to Portugal? That's a great question for you, Nuno. A 66-year-old and a 70-year-old, will they be insurable here in Portugal?
Yeah, this is very, very easy to answer. 100% yes.
100% yes, there, Stephen.
Just
So,
let me know. Let me know.
okay, all
Get
right.
in contact. Okay.
All right, Stephen. I am safe at winsurance.pt. That was a very straightforward answer. You might have other questions for the Dream Team based on your move to Portugal. Now we've got that out of the way. Rahela, and if a case is under appeal, can we claim... Oh, okay, so this is for you, Gilda, and that was Melissa... No, Rahela, I beg your pardon, was asking the question earlier on and continues. Oh, this was about the D2 visa. I beg your pardon. Let me just rewind here. And that was the CEF decision that went back to December. Heard nothing since then. D2 visa. They refused the D2 because my company was losing money. It did not matter how much I invested, but that's not what the law says. And if a case is under appeal, can we claim NHR under the old rules even after the end of the year if the case is still under appeal? So that's an interesting situation to be in. If somebody appeals and they applied originally in time for the NHL, can they still claim that? Are they still eligible for that, Gilda?
Yes, they can. Also, that is not a thing that they can say a reason for they to deny the visa, because of course it's understandable that if you have a company and you are not in Portugal yet to run the company, it's understandable that the company is not making money yet.
Right.
However, I always advise my clients, because sometimes most of the times when they go for a D2, they already have their business back home. So my advice is for them to invoice other clients from the Portuguese company or invoice their own company where else.
Okay.
Why? Because they need, or they should show the Portuguese authorities that the company is making some money. It's not mandatory, it's not on the law, but I know that many times they come with this excuse.
Right. Okay. So it can be challenged.
Yes. So if you want to book a consultation with me, maybe we can talk about it and see how can we turn this situation, or try to move this situation.
All right, that's good to know. I'm sure that's a relief on the one hand for Rahela there, but still...
Actually, I want to tell you something. I'm here every week on the Dream Team.
Yes.
But I don't think that you know that under the migration, my specialty is the D2 visa.
Right. Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you for letting us know that. Rahela, yeah, reach out via the Expats Portugal Business Directory to Gilda and team there, and you can get you some expert support on that. Just Jess, that was the staying with a friend, wasn't it? And the friend owns the house, so thank you for that extra information, and thank you to us. You continue. My original plan was to move to Portugal on a job seeker visa. I'm now finding difficulty in finding a Portuguese employer that will hire without having a work permit first, or a US employer okay with working in Portugal. Have you got a comment on that, Gilda?
Yes, I do.
Right.
I do. So if you come with the job seeker visa, this visa allows you to find a job in Portugal. Okay. If the employer says, oh, but you don't have the resident permit, you need to explain, but I have a job seeker visa that allows, or more than that, doesn't allow. It's mandatory for me to find a job here. And sometimes the people that are employees are not aware of the laws, because this is migration and they are Portuguese, so they don't know. You foreigners know much more about migration than Portuguese that don't work in the area. Right. So my advice would be, as I do sometimes, I talk with the employers and I explain the situation. You can employ this person under this article, blah, 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 and they feel more secure when they have an email or something written from a lawyer, a law firm, or a migration agency. In our case,
Okay.
us. Okay.
Yep.
So that is one point. The other point is if you come with the job seeker visa, you are not allowed to present a contract with a foreign entity if you want to go for the IMA appointment.
Right.
They will not grant you the residency permit with the foreign with the work contract with the foreign entity.
Okay, very good value for Just Jess there over on YouTube. Thanks, Yilda, for that. We're going to stay with you for Hussein Kinmani on YouTube as well. How many months of proof of accommodation for a D3 visa from the UAE is required? Do I need to show a registered contract, or will the Airbnb booking work? Going back to Airbnb bookings.
Actually, for the D3, an Airbnb is enough.
Really? Okay,
Yes.
all right. So that's still applicable. Yes, then, Hussein, for that. That was part of the question, wasn't it? How many months of proof of accommodation for the D3 visa?
4 months.
Okay, all right. That's good to know. All right, thank you very much. Let's go back to Tom. Thank you, Tom, behind the scenes here on Zoom. A few years ago, someone had their tigers escape from a private zoo. We can count ourselves lucky here in Portugal then. Tigers escaping from a private zoo in southeast Ohio. Big mess as the official state police and wildlife officials hunted them down. Yikes. I suspect that is what happened with our loose wallaby, but is a lot less dangerous. It's quite the moral maze, that, isn't it? Whether you own up to having smuggled a wallaby into the country if you want to see it again. To clarify this, Tom, when I say authentically Portuguese, going back to Almada and that choice, Carolina, I mean less touristy. The tourist trade has driven up prices and crowds. Carolina, you're answering, yes, it is less touristy. That's, of course, if you don't go to the Cristo Rei. There are touristy bits of Almada, but there are also less touristy bits as well. Thank you, Carolina and Tom, on that. Right, we're drawing to a close. We've got a video to play for you. We are into the month of August now. It's the 1st of August, of course. Here we are, suddenly, 8 months into 2024. That's gone very quickly. And things change here, don't they, in Portugal in August? Could I go through the Dream Team panel tonight and ask your views on how to cope in Portugal in August? Because there's a lot in that question. Things change. It's a holiday season. Bureaucracy changes. People are having their holidays. It's a little different for people who aren't used to being in Europe, I think, in the month of August. Let's start with you, Nuno. What's your survival guide for managing August as a foreigner here in Portugal?
Oh, as a foreigner, so don't try to solve
anything.
Yeah, pretty much anything on the public system, but sometimes we could get by surprise because it's the time that this person that is the key person to solve problems is available to solve it for you. So we never know, but actually is not the best. Regarding try to don't get sick because hospitals are overcrowded, some with the urgencies closed. So
right.
Try to
don't get ill in August. Okay, good advice. Right. Wait till September, right? It's basically the advice.
Yes.
Or just don't do that. Okay, very good. All right, well, thank you. Survival guide for August. It's a serious question and it's an important one. And it's a cultural adjustment for sure. Carolina, what would you add to that? Because you mentioned August, of course, when you were talking about the Algarve. It's a very busy season down there. It affects. I think people are not interested in long-term rentals in the Algarve. Or the people or the landlords aren't interested in long term. They're interested all about the short term in the Algarve. What else might people be aware of in August as a foreigner from your point of view, Carolina?
To avoid, right?
Yes. Or to embrace in this month here in Portugal.
Well, the traffic. You can embrace the traffic.
Yes. This is the month to drive across the bridge, isn't it?
It is, but you can embrace like to go to Lisbon in the morning without getting traffic. So Go
Okay.
with the car around Portugal during the August season because it's not as crowded as the entire year. I believe Nuno agrees with me. At least he's smiling a lot.
A great tip. Thank you very much for that. That's another way of looking at
100%.
things. Yep, a nice reframe on the month of August there. Gilda, what would you say, managing the month of August as a foreigner here in Portugal?
Well, first I have before that I have some questions I would like to answer here in the chat because they seem to be important.
Yes,
Can I?
you can. Well, there's a
Okay.
thank you, Gilda, and thanks a lot, guys, from Hussein and Just Jess over on YouTube. But you're absolutely right. We've got a quickie from Bri, haven't we? What are the specific requirements for a job contract when applying for a D1 visa?
Okay, this is very important. It needs to be a work contract that where it's the Portuguese minimum wage it's guaranteed, and the minimum of this contract needs to be 12 months, and it needs to state that those 12 months are renewed, or if they don't have a time, it needs to say that it's an undetermined time work contract.
Okay.
Work contract. My English is so messy tonight. I think that my
It's hot. It's August.
no, it's my things are going faster than my mouse. My thoughts are going faster than my mouse. So I'm off.
Yeah, for me, it's often the other way around. So congratulations, Gilda. Okay, is that everything?
Then
on
yes,
D1?
then you were asked. Then Laronda asks what kind of accommodation required for the work seeker visa. Well, the work seeker visa, you need to show accommodation for 6 months. So it will be Airbnb with 6 months. It will be fine.
There you go, Laronda. Working things out behind the scenes there. We enjoy seeing your thought
You
process.
see, I do my job, your job, everything.
Yes, you did. Thank you, Gilda. I don't know what I'd do without you, honestly. Right. And your survival guide for August here in Portugal.
I love the months of August. And actually, it is when I didn't have kids, I would work the whole months of August because it's very good to work in August. Nothing is happening. You don't have traffic. Everything starts later and sooner. And then when everyone would come from the holidays, and the big chaos would start in September, I would start my holidays, but totally relaxed because
Yes.
like in August, I've been working, but it was, total relaxed.
Very good. Thank you, Gilda.
That is a good strategy if you don't have kids. Carolina, I don't know if you...
I'm glad I asked the question. I'm glad I asked the question because we wouldn't know this if not for finding out from you locals here this evening, proper Portuguese people. Sarah, you haven't been here for an August yet. Do you have any questions for the panel on surviving August here in Portugal?
Oh, I mean, I've noticed the traffic, and my Uber drivers keep telling me that how great it is. I'm probably doing what Gilda said. I'm taking some time off in September. So yeah. But yeah, no, it's my first summer, so I'll have to wait and see. It's my birthday month, so I'm just trying to celebrate that as much as possible.
Okay, so where should presents be sent? To Spartan FX HQ or the Lisbon branch? We'll find out where people can send
Lisbon
you.
branch.
All right, fantastic. Thank you, Dream Team. You've been amazing tonight. We've got a video to come. I'm gonna cue that up whilst Astrid is telling us a couple of housekeeping notes, I think, for what's coming up next week. And how to unlock the perks and benefits of a premium membership. And I think we've got a WhatsApp group QR code in there as well, Astrid.
I've been putting a lot up there whilst we've been chatting, but yes, I'm busy across both YouTube and here. So thank you everybody for coming. But yes, if you do like what we're doing here at Expats Portugal and you're not a premium member yet, it'll be great to have your support and join us there. You can also book consultations with us if you want some one-to-one personal attention. We can help you get your plan in place for your move to Portugal if you're not here already. Oh, you're getting ready for, I was wondering what that was. But next Wednesday night, we have a golden visa update. So that's in the calendar at the moment. You can RSVP for that. And then on Thursday night, we have Philomena. So she is going to be taking us to some interesting places to visit that, and some tourism, some virtual tourism of Portugal.
Superb. Thank you, Astrid. Thanks, Jerry, for this video. Thank you, Sarah, for the picture before the video. It's like before and after. My goodness, what goes on during this video? Do you want to introduce it, Jerry? And we'll go out with this evening. It's only 11 seconds, but it seems like it might be quite profound.
Well, I mean, it's perfection, Carl. It's true professionals, you know, masters of their craft. What else can I say?
Excellent.
Press the play button.
Thanks for being here tonight. We'll see you again next week. Take care. Bye for now. Wow. Just wow. Bom fim de semana. Ciao, ciao. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Carl.